You ever come across a movie title that just speaks to you? This one speaks to me down to my soul. The Fuck It List! Or, as it's written everywhere that you'll find it, the F***K It List. Because, you know, people are afraid of words of the four-letter variety. It's brought to us by director Michael Duggan and stars Eli Brown as Brett Blackmore. Brett is a straight-A senior who has never done anything wrong in his life. He has spent the entirety of his childhood studying and doing everything he can to make sure that he is the best at school as possible. He's got his eye on pretty much every Ivy League college out there, and he's determined to get into them. Much of this comes from his parents, played by Natalie Zay and Jerry O'Connell, who have groomed him from day one to be the absolute best that he can ever be. They've laid out a roadmap for him from birth so that he can end up being the absolute best human being conceivable. And so far, that roadmap has worked out. Brett gets accepted to pretty much every school on Earth, including all the Ivy League schools, with the exception of Harvard, which he gets put on the wait list at Harvard, and he considers this a failure. Failure or not, he is still exceeding beyond anyone else at his school, though. Brett is teased nonstop by his friends because he never gets out and does anything, which does lead one to wonder, how the hell do you have friends if you never go out and do anything with them? But whatever. He's always played it safe. He's a goody two-shoes. He studies. He does everything he's supposed to. He never does anything to go against the grain. But one night near the end of his senior year, he gets convinced to come out with a whole bunch of friends for a senior prank. And through a course of unfortunate events, this senior prank goes horribly wrong. And while he wasn't the only one there, Brett is the only one that security footage has a picture of being there. So, being the good friend that he is, he takes the blame in full. Suddenly, those Ivy League colleges start pulling back those acceptances of him. He's kicked out of school, his parents are disappointed, and everything in his life is pretty much nosediving. And one night, in a fit of despair, he posts a video to what he thinks is a group chat with some of his friends, where he pretty much says, fuck it. He goes on this huge rant about all the things that he's not been able to do throughout his life and he's missed out on, and starts rattling off all these things that he wants to do in life. And he refers to this as his Fuck It List. Unbeknownst to him, this video makes it out of this group chat and goes viral. And from here, his life spirals into a viral sensation, where people around the world are standing up and making their own Fuck It lists. And we see Brett navigate through this world while also trying to figure out what it is he really wants himself. I'm not gonna lie, I had absolutely no idea that this movie was coming out. And it wasn't until I ran across the name that I was, of course, instantly intrigued. At its core, the Fuck It List is a cute coming-of-age story, with some pretty solid performances all around. Brett's parents do get a little bit goofy here or there, but it's nothing too out there, especially for Jerry O'Connell. Upon seeing him in this movie, I thought to myself, oh shit, here it goes. This guy's gonna take it a bit too far. But no, he is more or less subdued here in this role, and he does a pretty good job as Brett's father. Our story is okay. I mean, it's not bad, but it's also nothing that we haven't seen before. And there's nothing wrong with that, but this one doesn't really cover any new ground or anything. There's nothing that's ever really surprising that happens in it. You pretty much know what's gonna happen from minute to minute while watching the movie. That being said, it is still a somewhat enjoyable time due to the performances and the somewhat jovial attitude overall of the movie. The movie sets itself up as a comedy, and while it does have some chuckle-worthy moments, I can't say that there's ever any laugh-out-loud moments. And that is a shame, because this story and the way that it's put on display does lend itself to some comedic moments, but we never quite get those. It's almost like they didn't know what they wanted to make, whether they wanted to make a more dramatic take or a comedic take, and they got stuck somewhere in between, not being sure which way they wanted to go. They never fully commit to either one, so it's somewhere in between in limbo. Now, there is still some enjoyment to get from this movie, but that was always hanging over it. I was always just kind of wondering, what exactly am I watching here? I feel like the story would have worked either way, but they just needed to make a decision as to which one they wanted to do. It does seem like more lighthearted comedy was the direction they were going, but like I said, it never feels like they fully commit to that. And unfortunately, that identity issue that the movie has does affect the overall product. I feel like this could have been a much more enjoyable, memorable movie had they made their mind up which way they wanted to go and just committed. But as it stands, it's okay. The movie does have a good message of following yourself and doing what's right for you. I like that. I think that this message can be applied to pretty much anybody out there, regardless of background. However, this story chooses to show us all of this through the eyes because of the privilege. Now, I have no problem with privileged people as a whole. Whatever. I'm assuming you earned it to get there. But let's be real. The vast majority of people on Earth are not privileged financially. So when pretty much every character in your movie is financially privileged, having them make decisions like this, where they pretty much say, fuck it to everything out there because I want to do what I want to do, while I do think it is a good message, I think it will also be a bit of a harder pill to swallow for some. Now, as I said, I feel like this message as a whole can be applied to pretty much anyone regardless of background, financial history, or anything. There are people in all kinds of walks of life that are pushed in a certain direction by other people and have a hard time doing what they actually want to do from fear of disappointing someone. It's not always rich parents trying to push kids into rich schools, but that is the angle that this movie chose. And I don't feel like everyone is going to look at it quite that objectively. Or maybe I'm reading way too far into a movie called The Fuck It List. I don't know, I tend to do that sometimes. Oh well, fuck it. Overall, guys, this movie's fine. It had a few chuckles, it's more or less enjoyable. I do like its message of being true to yourself, but it could have used a few more laughs, and I think that some people are gonna have a harder time identifying with the characters here. However, if you're looking for a cute little coming-of-age story that does have a pretty positive message, then The Fuck It List is absolutely worth streaming.
Across the street.
Throw it on one night when you're looking for something kind of light to watch, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. So there it is, guys, my review of The Fuck It List. Regardless of how good the movie is or is not, that is a fucking amazing name. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, San Diego.
I'm so fucked. You want to know how I got here? I'll show you.
You know, the characters in this movie made this real big deal about making these fuck it lists. But I thought it was real weird because me, myself, I find throughout life, pretty much all the lists I make in life leading up to decisions I'm going to make are fuck it lists. That could explain a lot of the decisions I've made. Oh well, fuck it.